Hi, welcome to Andrew Buckle book review of Flash Comics. Obviously, it should be a comic review, shouldn't it? Flash Comics #1. This came out quite a few months ago, but I've been looking at it for times. I thought, you know what, I must do a review of it. #1, January. Now, this was 1939. This originally came out, and I just love these old golden age facsimiles. They are absolutely fascinating. However, I really wished before I got it that it was actually going to be like this format. This one is just amazing. Detective Comics, I don't know if they've done any others. Please put in the comments below if you know of any other ones that the DC facsimiles been done in this style where you can see the star. Just look at that. But it's just great to see it near enough, sort of, like the original. Flash Comics, was it the same size as Detective Comics back in the day, #27? I have no idea. Or was it maybe it was a bit smaller? I don't know. Obviously, I haven't got a copy of Flash Comics #1 to be able to check that. But what I have got also is here. I'm just going to quickly show you the archive editions. Now, I've got #2 as well. I really love these. And I hope at some point they bring out, of course, a DC finest of Flash Comics as well. Golden Age ones, of course. That would be great. But let's just open this one up first, and you can just see slight differences. It is slightly different. So you can see it there. Let's just show you that one. Now, I mean, the quality of the artwork in this one looks much the same. Obviously, it's on a different paper stock. But you got there Flash Comics. And I love this one. But the thing is, of course, with these volumes, is that you only get the Flash. And that will be the case, of course, if DC Finest bring out one with Flash, they will not include the other stories. And there are a few other stories. And that's often the things that make this quite interesting, because I've seen the original story of Flash, of course, it's just been reprinted a number of times in different places. And well, I've also seen over the years, there has, I think, been some reprints before as well, black and white ones. I think I vaguely remember, but I might be wrong on that. But still, you've got All American Comics there, and that one is #10. So obviously, it's been going for a bit before that. So obviously, All American Comics #1. I think that's been reprinted at some point as well, perhaps. Still, Gardner Fox and Harry Lampert. And you, of course, got there the classic Joan as he goes there, calls out, and we finally find Flash. Obviously, he gets transformed into the Flash. This gas is powerful stuff, and obviously he collapses. Jay, answer me. And you can see there, obviously, he's in there. Boy, this tastes good. I could eat a horse. And of course, at that point, I always wondered about the cost of all the food. The Flash must go for a lot of, but still, there is obviously going to be slightly playing against the Flash. It'd be tricky, wouldn't it? But the artwork is great, but you can see the quality because, of course, it's on different paper. It is slightly different from the volume 1, but it would have been nice if they'd gone with the other one, the other format, the Detective Comics format. I would have loved to see that. Love that. That's a great. I always wondered, did anyone ever realise it was not exactly difficult to see, of course, unless he, of course, vibrated his face slightly. Obviously, they wouldn't have done that in the comic. That would be so complicated. But you would think someone might think, you know what, that looks like Jay. But still. Then you, of course, got the usual evil villains. There were often lots of these sort of gangs or very dubious characters who were not really vastly superpowered ones. Therefore, it was always relatively easy for the Flash to beat him. But of course, there was always things that suddenly he'd get hit on the head or something we hit something, those sort of things. But you got, like I say there, the Flash. I've heard of him, just about. Just great comic. But the thing is, I like about this, and I'm just going to go to next month, another amazing story. The only one and only Flash. It says there, Cliff Cornwall. So these are the things that very rarely get reprinted. And I would love, and I know it's not going to happen because people put in comments saying, you always mention things that you would love to see. Yes, I would. But unfortunately, I don't think Cliff Cornwall is ever going to have a DC finest. Now, it would be nice if they did a DC finest maybe of those stories, sort of just random story ones of the Golden Age, a Golden Age random story collection. I don't know what they called it, but it would be nice. Just things like Cliff Cornwall. And I mean, why not? Special Agent. These are just great stories. There should be more stories about special agents in comic books. Perhaps there are modern comics, but unfortunately, Marvel and DC, I can't think. Obviously, you've got S.H.I.E.L.D. I suppose that's a special agent, isn't it? Bobby Morse and all those sort of things. But you've got there, of course, this great little story. Obviously, a bit of flying there. Can't beat that. And obviously a bomb going down there and various story. And Cliff Cornwall and Liz. Obviously, that's her name there. In the next issue of Flash Comics. these short stories were great. They were just very short stories. I mean, they were, the artwork. I'm certain the artwork got better and better and better. Sheldon Meldoff. I mean, I think actually this is perfectly reasonable. Actually, this artwork. Sometimes when you get some of these old stories, the artwork, some early issues, pretty terrible. But this clearly is much better quality from Sheldon Meldoff. Hawkman, and I love this. Always, I don't know. And again, I haven't followed all the Hawkman stories. I'm certain people turn around and say, "Oh yes, they've done lots of stories where they developed this idea." But I love the fact that obviously this, I think it was Egyptian or something, wasn't it? And you got here, no, it doesn't particularly look very Egyptian there, but still, I think looks more, could be any time, to be honest. But that was the thing. It was a great opportunity for having a story based in the past and where it's a love that was through time and all those sorts of things. And at least there's no magic men I can fight. And of course, there's obviously sword fighting there and things. All great things. But again, I just wondered, are these done now? I mean, have they done lots of stories where they've developed ideas? Now, I think Hawkman's, it's now, of course, he's an alien. So it's obviously slightly different, but you've got there. Of course, I love that story. I mean, and I love there's one scene where he's got always a hawk in the sky. I suddenly thought myself Batman, sort of semblance to Batman. Instead of bats, of course, there's a hawk in the sky. But also, there was still some great. Oh yeah, a hawk, a gigantic hawk. You mean? Yes, this should be my first. It would be quite unusual, wouldn't it? See some guy floating away. This one, of course, is Dr. Hastor, electrician extraordinary. Extraordinary. Okay, but still, blast you eternity with 1,000,000 volts. Only 1,000,000 volts. Ignoring Dr. Hastor, of course, he does that. You shall pay as he goes off. Just love that. But there was, of course, a Golden Age collection of Hawkman. I suspect we will not get a Hawkman collection. It'd be nice. I don't know if they do these things. As they don't put a volume number on the DC Finest, they could, I guess, bring out Hawkman, the Silver Age. But they could, if it's successful and people love the series, they might dip backwards. There's no number in it, so it's not like volume 1. It's not like they have to start with a volume number, which I think is a good way of doing it because it means the Flash one as well. They could bring out the Golden Age Flash as part of the same series. I guess they wouldn't, maybe. I don't know. But I would love to see that. Probably have to wait a long time. Love this bit. Johnny Thunderbolt, another character that I think there's been collections and things with Johnny Thunder, I'm quite certain. But Johnny Thunderbolt, it's very odd, isn't it? Johnny Thunderbolt at that point, and of course he got there, has a quick origin story there. His infant son, John L. Thunder, whom they called Johnny. I love all those ones. That's just great. But the artwork again is great. I don't know who the artist was for this one. I can't see a name. No. Someone will say in the comments below the name. I can't remember who did the artwork. But of course you got, there he is again, and all the, again, sort of very basic stories. But great. Absolutely great ones again. There's obviously, oh my gosh, stop him, and he of course gets the Thunderbolt there as Johnny Thunderbolt become. And though there's not actually in this one, sort of, I suppose. They were sort of, but the character, of course, later, maybe that obviously appeared in later issues, but certainly in this early issue, you can see the story slightly different from what happened later. And he's obviously there more proactive, I would say. Normally in the comics, Johnny Thunder ones, with Black Canary, it was a bit more sort of relied on the other character. Say you. Oh, no, didn't happen. Wouldn't be nice, but no. If that happened every time everyone opened a comic and said that, then it would be weird, wouldn't it? Warfare in space, and you've got these Gardner Fox, it says there. Little stories, sometimes actually quite good. I haven't read this one, I have to say, but I've got it, cried Billy Morton, blah, blah, blah. They turned to a grey hair man. But they always had these. Very strange. But they had them in UK comics as well. All these sort of stories. Of course, you wouldn't have, there's quite often lots of the text. But I love this one. Flash stamps as well. Getting Flash everywhere into this. Super Wonder Packet offered. Gift edition, stamp annual free, and all those sorts of things as well. But you've also got that, the Demon Dummy. What happened to the Demon Dummy? Maybe the text, that's a bit weird. No, that's not going to get on. But why red? And obviously there you go. The artwork's a bit weird as well. That's Ed Whelan. You know, who knows whether this continues. That's the thing with some of these. Sometimes you don't know. unless you obviously I should have done a bit of research and had a quick look to see for this series. Maybe it was only one issue for this character. Can't see that's going to be a great story somehow. Sort of a storyline with a dummy there fighting crime. Could happen. Maybe there's been other stories where dummy and ventriloquist. I guess ventriloquist, that's an interesting one for crime stories. Imagine it's possible, isn't it? And you, of course, got there, obviously involved in various, yet more evil, diabolical scheme. You've got to have a diabolical scheme. Of course, the quality of the artwork, actual restoration, etc. I can't compare because I haven't got obviously the early issue. Looks really fine, very decent and sharp. Colours. I say it's because it's not on glossy paper. I actually like this. I like the DC facsimiles, facsimiles even more than Marvel ones. Marvel ones I do love, but I must admit now I'm actually starting to like the DC finest slightly more than the Epic. There is a slight difference in the quality, how they've done it. Personally, please, no, what's the names on that? I love the Marvel Epics as well, of course, and completes. But the DC finest is just great to get into that. But you got here, obviously, got here. These are just great little stories. But unfortunately, they will never get a collection. So, other than obviously in this, it will be nice to see these stories. Some of them, I wouldn't have said that a massive collection of 100 stories is ever going to sell. But still, you could imagine 4 or 5 of these things. It would be interesting just to get the general gist of that story and the character. Following this powerful picture novel. I love that, isn't it? It's picture novels there. Ed Whelan, famous creator of minute movies. Don't know. And maybe everyone knows who he is, but I certainly don't. In the next issue of Flash Comics. Yay! And The Whip. What a great name that is. The Whip. You got here apparently from the time of Cortez, the conqueror of Mexico, to Geronimo, etc., etc. That looks good as well. I love a good old Western / Mexican story. There's not many, are there? Not many Mexicans. You do get those sort of things in the sort of French BD ones that you get all weird stories and you think, oh, Captain Jack or something where it's like lots of Indians and that. Of course, there were lots of Western stories as well, but I don't know Mexican ones. Were there Mexican ones as well? Not a genre of comics. Obviously, I assume in Mexico there were tons and tons of comics about Mexican characters, but not familiar with those sort of stories. I can't think of offhand any superheroes or any characters that, like Red Wolf, obviously were Native American, but Mexican ones. Probably in the X-Men, maybe. Someone will put a comment below to tell me about some characters that maybe I should be checking out. But still, The Whip. You got The Whip there. Again, crime, the usual sort of things. Lots of those stories back then. And obviously various others. I don't know who that character is. The Whip, El Castigo, it says there. And it goes all the way through to the end. And Marissa Dillon Wright, the Eastern... I can't even read that. Is Marissa Dillon Wright, is the Easter... Anud. Okay, really the ghost of the Whip. Something like that. See the next issue of The Flash, which is a great thing, but unfortunately, issue 2 is not going to probably ever be facsimile at any point, if there's a word for that. Facsimilated. But this one's great. I absolutely love this. Make your own records at home. That's cool as well. The internet, all those sort of things, great features. Records play 3 full minutes for both sides. $2.98, apparently. Ooh, I suspect that this advert is... What's his name? It probably says original advertisement reproduction, just to make certain that people don't go and do it, which is probably a good idea. And of course, it's got a little logo down there as well. That probably wasn't there. I don't know how many changes or anything all the way through this, but this is just great. I love these ones, and please, hope they continue with more of these different issues. I would be perfectly happy to have just a selection. It doesn't have to be a famous, issue. Doesn't need to be a big issue. It needs to be just, Flash Comics number 10 or something. I'm quite certain I'll buy it. No one else would, but I would buy it. I'd see it in the shop. I think, Flash Comics 10. It's not going to happen. So I've just, it's possible. But this is great. Of course, most people are probably going to get it initially for the good old Flash. I think the other stories are good and have their moment in the sun, which is, of course, the key thing. And, of course, you've got on the front, you've got all the various things as well. It's called Johnny Thunder on the front. Was he Johnny Thunder Bolt in the original? Have they changed that? That seems to make no sense if it's called Johnny Thunderbolt inside. Johnny Thunder on the front. I'm going to have to check because that's just going to annoy me. That is odd, isn't it? Okay, I've never noticed that before. Introducing the Flash. But these are great. Have you bought this? Are you going to buy it? Did you buy any other facsimiles? Do you not like them at all? Which is quite possible as well. I think they're great. Really pleased. Of course, they're $6.99, a lot cheaper than if you were trying to buy it now as an original, unfortunately. Be nice if you get a coverless comic for a few pence, wouldn't it? But that's not going to happen. A like or dislike, always appreciated. Also, please subscribe to the channel, always adding new videos near enough every day or so. So, bye.